Welcome back to SwitchCorner. Today we're taking a look at my favourite deals across the Switch eShops covering the US, Canada, UK, EU and Australia. As always, this Saturday edition is any price goes. If you're looking for the cheaper side of the eShop, make sure to check out our Thursday edition where I keep everything sub $10. Then I do have two winners to announce today from last week's video. We'll be doing that as we do go through this list today. As always though, drop a comment down below for your chance to win one or two $10 eShop gift cards this week. With that then, look, it's a monster list today, one of the best sales I've seen in a long time. I've actually got 15 games for you and all of them new all-time lows. So with that, look, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family. We are so close at this point to 15,000 subscribers, so thank you all so much. And yeah, let's get started. So first up today, Bloodroots, we're starting budget and this dropped into the sale within like 5 minutes of my first day edition going live. But this isn't no normal sale, this is about as deep as they get, offering up a huge 90% off, and this is just an incredible game. Here you'll be playing as Mr. Wolf and after one event leads to another, you basically are left for dead, bleeding out. The problem for your killer though, you do not die, you survive, and now you are out for revenge. For a plot twist here though, those that tried to kill you, it was your own crew. So while you're at it, you want to uncover basically why were you betrayed. Fast paced, pick up and play kind of gameplay, just one more go, you know, that kind of vibe. It's basically though an isometric rampage and it is stunning. It's also notable for its use of just unusual weapons. They can be picked up from around the world. Think like axes, ladders, even carrots. A beautiful visual style, great soundtrack, and yeah, it just has this like pulp style I just can't personally resist. And the best compliment I can give this one, it's basically like a Devolver Digital game, except it's not Devolver Digital. Alright, so horror fans, Halloween is quickly approaching and not surprisingly we're seeing a slew of horror games that are getting that discount treatment. A first time sale here, or at least first time if you don't include the 10% launch, and that is Blair Witch. It's coming in with a seriously respectable 50% off. Not gonna pretend the game's perfect because it's not visually, gotta say it's pretty rough around the edges, and generally I do think they could have done better, you know, with the license. That said, they could have done a lot worse as well, and you'll know what I mean if you saw the movie sequel, Book of Shadows Blair Witch 2. Either way though, look, if you just like horror games in general, or you like the movie like myself, you know, I can't deny revisiting the Blair Witch lore was a great time. It's just got this like solid grasp of the atmosphere needed to kind of build this world, and the dog absolutely steals the show. I think this is a good option for those that have probably beaten games like Layers of Fear already and just want a horror feel for the Halloween season. Alright, so a bit of a smaller discount now, but Lonely Mountains Downhill, it's coming in with 25% off. Reviewed this one over on the channel and it's probably one of the best games I've played this year so far. It does suffer from like some very minor slowdown, but I am talking minor here. And the patch, it is on the way. If you want some challenging gameplay though, this one like absolutely has you covered. Concept simple, start at the top of the mountain, work your way to the bottom on your bike. But how you do that, the path you carve, you know, it's completely up to you. The controls, it gives you a couple of options. I suggest you experiment with them first just to find the best fit. It's going to take a little while to get used to them honestly, but once you get your head around them, they absolutely just feel intuitive and I mean honestly perfect. I was hating them for like that first 15-20 minutes of gameplay. I love the way though this one just adds to the difficulty with different challenges. Each mountain, it culminates in the need for what is a perfect run from top to bottom, and that's a whole lot harder than it honestly sounds. Stunning visuals then just top off this, and it's a hold your breath and just hope for the best kind of gameplay loop, which I just found addictive. I was just constantly pressing restart and it pushed me to strive for those perfect moments while hunting out shortcuts. Love this one, well worth a look. Okay, so let's mellow things out a bit here, and I have two that are similar in a way, but should appeal to different styles. First, we get Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town. It was a remake of a 2003 Game Boy Advance game. For those that don't know Story of Seasons, it is basically a Harvest Moon game, but license restrictions, it forced them to remove the Harvest Moon part of the name. Here though, you get a relatively simple, but extremely relaxed, like, you know, farming sim. Basically here, you inherit a rundown farm, and now it's your turn to turn it into something amazing while chatting with the locals, completing like basic goals and even maybe getting married. I liked it, it's easy stuff naturally, and it's all about managing your time and completing, you know, daily chores more than anything else. But yeah, they've charmed audiences for years and with good reason. It just absolutely hooks you. It's very simple here to sink hours into it, so it might not be the cheapest still with 30% off, but you will get your money's worth. Then as a counter to this one, we get Rune Factory 4 Special. This is a Harvest Moon spin-off too, but instead of just being farming, meeting the locals, relationships, you know, all that good stuff, it then throws in like monsters, magic, swords, and just adds this whole like RPG element to the whole idea. This is my personal favourite of the two because of the options it provides. Sure, if you want, you can just look after your crops, visit the parade, you know, do all that usual stuff. But then, if you feel like it, jump into a few dungeons for some very simplistic action RPG gameplay, and I really appreciated having the two balance. It's good for those that find burnout in the slower pace of most titles in the genre, and I think this one would be like well worth a look if you want just a farm sim with a twist. Offering 25% off, it's another good deal where you'll find a huge amount of hours of gameplay ahead of you. Alright, so let's go action again now. Darksiders Genesis, and I know this wasn't the Darksiders a lot of people were like hoping for, but for me, I still really enjoyed this isometric dungeon crawler. It's kind of like Diablo with less grinding, more linear progression, but I thought the characters were great. It just like ran really well on the Switch, and the combat, it was simple enough, but still like flashy and visceral. And sometimes, honestly, that's all you really need. The gameplay on offer here, it gives you the opportunity to play as two characters. You got War and Strife, one melee, one a gun wielding badass. But what elevated this one, it was the like option to play co-op, offline and online. I'm not going to pretend this one's deep, it's not, outside of the occasional pick up and upgrade, but it has it where it's needed, the action, and there's a lot of like heart in the action. My only warning, due to like the zoomed out camera angle here, it can be a little bit small on screen handheld. It works, but you might need to like squint to see the tiny characters at points. I had fun though, and the story, it's a prequel to the original trilogy, so it's also a good time just seeing what happened to kick off like the entire series' like main story arc. With 33% off, I think it's worth it, and I reviewed it over on the channel if you want to take a deeper look. Alright, so what's the date from one badass set of characters to another? If one thing like screams, I'm stylish, and screw it, I'll say it again, badass, it's the fact they got Ron Perlman to voice our lead character here, the dead William Mason. Here you'll head to Purgatory, Wyoming, 1888 to regain your memory and hunt down a shadowy figure that you still can't quite remember. This trip though through a western themed afterlife, I was really impressed, and again, I reviewed it over on the channel, but this is an extremely challenging, and it is a roguelite, so just go in expecting that sort of repetition that's then accompanied with character growth. But yeah, dodge, shoot, upgrade and wield a ton of weapons in this procedurally generated world where waves of enemies will come at you and the boss moments will push your like skill. Just be warned, like any game in the genre, as I said, it is not easy and will take some for sure patience. So one of the surprise games of 2020 for me then, Unrailed. It has single player, but it is for sure best experienced in online or local co-op. The idea is simple. You got to build a train track from one station on the map to the next, while you're all like completing different jobs, whether that's mining, harvesting the forest, building new tracks, or simply putting out the fires on your train. You can have up to 4 players at a time here. As you progress, of course, things are going to get tougher though. It's going to introduce enemies. It's going to have a moving camera that even goes like upside down, all sorts of craziness. Sounds simple, but it's super frantic, and the game setup, it forces absolute teamwork, and you need to be really good at that, else you'll be like just screaming at each other. Found a ton of entertainment in this, and I think we had a few sittings where we hit like the 5-hour mark. Between the screaming at each other though and upgrading our train, it was just very simple to get lost in that gameplay loop. I'd probably suggest you pick this one up with a friend or find someone that plays it too. If you're not sure of anyone that's going to pick it up though, jump across to our Discord. We actually share out like a lot of friend codes there just to try and help with finding others for these more like multiplayer focused games. Do have a full review on this one again over on the channel where you can check out more gameplay, and I thought full price was more than fair, so the current 25% off, well worth it. Okay, so 2 UK EU AU exclusives I want to just mention before we get to our first winner of the week. First up, we got Nightcall. This one is for those of you that like a more story-driven experience. The idea is there's a mass murderer on the loose, and there's only ever been one survivor. That survivor is you. Awaking in hospital after the ordeal, you end up returning to work. You're a taxi driver here. Hoping for things though to get back to normal, you're quickly then drawn back into the case, and now you must like work out who the killer is by questioning your passengers. Basically though, choose your passenger from a map. It's going to pay your bills more than anything, but then you'll also be questioning them or piecing together the case at your apartment. Really enjoyed it, but it is for sure a bit more niche, probably more for like visual novel fans. 30% off though, not a huge discount, but the steepest I've seen yet on the game. It's not been out long either. Then new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, this 2D side-scrolling Mario. It's from the Wii U days, meaning it didn't get like a lot of love. And while you will see Mario Party and Tennis on sale too, this is the only one with a new all-time low offering 33% off. So our first winner of the week then, Alan Thompson, who's adding Rock of Ages to the library from last week's video. Cannot deny the Monty Python sense of humour here. It's for sure something that elevated the entire experience. It was a good move on the devs' part, and it brings a lot of character to this like entire experience. That deal is still available for a couple more days though, if anyone is interested. But yeah, congrats to Alan. Drop me an email to claim your code. We do still have one more winner to announce, but first let's do a couple more games. So race fans, and specifically motorbike fans, I've got two for you this week. First, for those that prefer their track racing, Moto GP20 coming in with 50% off, and this one hasn't really been out too long. The core idea, the core racing is absolutely fine. I actually did an in-depth review over on the channel, but the package around it, it's a little lacking. There's no online play and it's got a reduced racing field. That said, at this price point, I do think fans, you'll get enough entertainment to justify the cost. It is worth knowing though, if you can play handheld with this one, I would, as it looks just a whole lot better. Then for those that prefer a little bit more, dirt under their tires, Monster Energy Supercross 3. This one I also reviewed, and in fact I've reviewed every entry of this series from Milestone on the channel. Really like the Monster series in general, but I do believe they've gone from strength to strength with each installment, and that's very true here. This is the most recent release. Now, while I will say it is probably harder than the first and second entry, they rebuilt this from the ground up, and it absolutely paid off on a control front. This one, it's rocking 60% off, and the price point is exactly the same as Moto GP20. If given the choice between the two personally, I'd go Monster, but it's more down to the racing style you like than anything else. Alright, so Demon's Tilt bringing a new all-time low to the table with 40% off on, and while I know pinball games are somewhat an acquired taste, I think this one does just enough. It kind of pulls itself out of the niche thanks to its creativity. This is a free tier like pinball table at its core, but then it's incorporating so many like ideas and delivers an experience that is just edge of your seat stuff. Now, as I say, it's not just normal pinball. The eShop description demonstrates that with how long it is. But yeah, it's even been updated recently just to add more to the game. But here, on the side of your pinball, expect secrets, bosses, special modes, bullet hell moments, a great chiptune soundtrack, enemies, and I'd say check out a review or two on this one. Even if like pinball's not your thing, give it a shot. It's a very cool game and you will not regret just at least taking a look. So our second winner of the week, and then our final two games. In this code, it's going to Taxo Chacon, who picked up the retro goodness of Collection of Mana. This was a solid deal last week, and it is still going till November 2nd. If retro is your thing, for sure though, take a look. Taxo, drop me an email to claim your code. Everyone else, 2 more games to go, but do remember to drop a comment down below for your chance to win one of the codes in next week's video. Also, check out my Thursday 10 under 10, where I'm currently giving away 2 copies of Green Hell from Forever Entertainment. So our penultimate game of the week then, it's Jenny LeClue, and it's 88% off. And adventure fans, I just urge you to give this one a shot. It is so cheap. They're seriously at this point undervaluing the game, and I've got behind it previously at full price. It's tagging itself as exploration, story and character, and for me it's basically a modern day take on, point and click, except point and click doesn't really sell a game anymore, hence they kind of skipped over the term. The visuals though are stunning, the writing spot on with its humour, the game is fully voice acted, and it says 8+ hours on the eShop. I actually spent around 10 in this world. Here you'll be an aspiring young detective though, and you get your first case. The problem though, your first case is an accusation against your own mother that she committed a murder. There begins the adventure though. Travel this town, find clues, solve puzzles, and piece whatever happened together. Really like this one, and it was a handheld go-to for me personally. Just the visuals, the animation style looks absolutely amazing on the small screen, and it does really seriously deserve more love. So our final game of the week then, and I featured this in Tuesday's Gems episode, Alien Isolation, a horror masterpiece coming in with 43% off. Switch is by far the best way to play this game. It's outperforming the Xbox and PlayStation. You'll find countless videos on YouTube where you can check out comparisons. Here though, you're going to be taking on the role of Ellen Ripley's daughter 15 years after the events of the first film. Your mother is obviously missing. They find the black box, and now you go to the space station that's holding this black box to uncover the truth. The problem, of course, you arrive and all hell has broken loose. The tension here is real as you creep these hallways, and they just nail that spirit of something being in your shadow at all times. And that is it, another week down, but what a week it's been. Some seriously impressive prices today. And then Thursdays under $10, it was the same thing. I have not seen a sale like this in some time. Will you be adding any of these though to your collection, or are you taking, a week off, giving the bank account a rest? Remember then to drop a comment down below to get in the drawing for next week's video, and also head to Thursday's edition for that green howl giveaway too. With that, like, a shout out to the patrons of the channel who are just going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. Helps more than you know, so thank you all so much. If you do want to check that out for yourself, I have linked it in the video description down below. Then, look, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.